Hi there, I'm James Hohmann in the Politico newsroom with some things you should be watching this week in politics. On Tuesday, President Barack Obama goes to Chattanooga, Tennessee to tour the Amazon distribution facility as part of his continuing pivot to the economy. He'll give another speech, basically repurposing the speeches he gave last week, trying desperately to break through during the summer to let the American people know that, in his view, a lot of the gridlock and dysfunction in Washington isn't his fault. Also on Tuesday in Kentucky, Alison Lundergan Grimes, the Democratic Secretary of State, will finally formally announce her candidacy against Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. About a month ago, she said she was going to get in, but initially didn't have a website. Then last week, she put out a YouTube video.
The government should either help or get out of the way. That's a lesson a certain Kentucky senator has never learned.
And now, she's going to have an event with her friends to formally kick off her campaign. It will bring a lot more attacks from McConnell, who's already up on the air, attacking both her and a Republican primary opponent, Matt Bevin. McConnell should get reelected if the kind of polls are right, but it'll be a heated and very contested race. I don't want to overdose you with bluegrass events, but it's a hot week in Kentucky. And on Saturday, the big annual event on the calendar for that state is Fancy Farm. It's technically a church fundraiser in rural Kentucky, but all the political class turns out and it always gets heated with hecklers and lots of back and forth. Bevin, Grimes, and McConnell will all be there. It's going to be a good window into just how nasty that race will be through all of 2014. And also this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the National Governors Association meeting. Pretty much of the nation's governors come together. They're going to talk a lot about healthcare and Medicaid expansion, which continues to divide governors across party lines. They're also going to talk about the economy, which has been making stops and starts, inconsistent growth around the country. Already 37 governorships are up for election either this year or next. And so these guys have their eyes set on re-election, and we all know what that means. And a lighter moment to start off this week. On Sunday, the Nationals won 14-1 over the New York Mets, an exciting victory after a pretty bad doldrum during the week after the All-Star game. We had a grand slam and the season high for runs. And this week in history, two pretty important events. This week in 1868, the 14th Amendment was finally ratified. This gave equal protection under the law to African Americans, even though, unfortunately, it wasn't realized for a century afterward. And the amendment continues to be important today. It gives birthright citizenship, which means that illegals in this country who have children on American soil automatically have their children become U.S. citizens. This is very controversial and a key element of the ongoing debate over what our country should do on immigration. And this week, in 1965, another kind of deja vu that still has ramifications for today. Lyndon Johnson signed Medicare into law, the biggest piece of social policy legislation that this country had passed until Obamacare in 2010. Johnson had his ceremony at the Harry Truman Presidential Library in Independence, Missouri, because Harry Truman had proposed a similar program in 1945. The first two Medicare beneficiaries, Harry and Bess Truman. In the Politico newsroom, I'm James Hohmann.